So I will do art and you will read. And
I will read, and I will do my best to keep my face visible. I usually put up my hair when I sleep, but I took a nap this afternoon without doing that, and it has declared itself an autonomous collective that does not recognize the divine right of kings. So,
Well, I mean, I guess you could charge it rent.
it ain't got a job.
Yes, it has. Looking fabulous.
It just goes right back exactly where it was.
It's like a
Anyway,
cartoon hair.
some days it really is anime hair. I'm like, it's not on purpose, I swear.
All right, and I am working on the Animalia art for my campers.
Lovely. And when we last left off, Eowyn told Faramir she was going home, but once they had laid
one whom she long loved as a father.
Yes, I was gonna say Denethor, and then I was like, not Denethor. Theoden. Once they lay Theoden to rest, she'll be back.
Yeah.
So the glad days passed, and on the 8th day of May, the riders of Rohan made ready and rode off by the north way, and with them went the sons of Elrond. We're gonna catch up to them time-wise pretty soon.
Yay!
All the road was lined with people to do them honor and praise them, from the gate of the city to the walls of the Pelennor. Then all others that dwelt afar went back to their homes rejoicing. But in the city there was labor of many willing hands to rebuild and renew and remove all the scars of war and the memory of darkness.
Wow.
Sorry, I'm allergic to darkness.
Or the removing of it.
Look, don't judge my hobbies. Anyway. The hobbits still remained in Minas Tirith with Legolas and Gimli, for Aragorn was loath for the fellowship to be dissolved. At last all such things must end, he said, but I would have you wait a little while longer. The end of the deeds that you have shared in has not yet come. A day draws near that I have looked for in all the years of my manhood, and when it comes, I would have my friends beside me. But of that day he would say no more. It's his wedding day! In those days, the companions of the ring dwelt together in a fair house with Gandalf. It's like, it's just a fair house. It's like it's not great, it's not terrible, it's fair.
I mean, it was probably a great house until a bunch of dudes started living in it.
The only one that does the dishes is Sam.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. We love you, Sam.
They dwelt together in a fair house with Gandalf, and they went to and fro as they wished. And Frodo said to Gandalf, "Do you know what this day is that Aragorn speaks of? For we are happy here, and I don't wish to go. But the days are running away, and Bilbo is waiting, and the Shire is my home." "As for Bilbo," said Gandalf, "he is waiting for the same day, and he knows what keeps you. And as for the passing of the days, it is now only May, and high summer is not yet in. And though all things may seem changed, as if an age of the world had gone by, yet to the trees and the grass it is less than a year since you set out." Not for us.
Nope. They have laughed us thrice.
Indeed. "Pippin," said Frodo, "didn't you say that Gandalf was less close than of old? He was weary of his labors then, I think. Now he is recovering." You invasive bitch.
Snippy, snippy. Frodo has always been the queen bitch.
And Gandalf said, well, no, Gandalf is an invasive bitch.
Yes.
And Gandalf said, "Many folk like to know beforehand what is to be set on the table, but those who have labored to prepare the feast like to keep their secret, for wonder makes the words of praise louder. And Aragorn himself waits for a sign." Bro, this is how we can tell you don't cook.
Yeah. Also, you heard it here first. Arwen is a meal.
She's not a snack. She's a feast.
I mean, when you put it that way, I guess it is a compliment.
There came a day when Gandalf could not be found, and the companions wondered what was going forward. But Gandalf took Aragorn out from the city by night, not suspicious at all,
Nope.
and he brought him to the southern feet of Mount Mindalluin, and from there they found a path made in ages past that few now dared to tread, for it led up onto the mountain to a high hollow where only the kings had been wont to go.
Okay, so Tolkien was a very well-behaved teenager, but every time he says, "Oh, no one dares to go to the paths of the dead or the slopes of Mindolluin or wherever," I'm like, the local teenagers do. They do it all the time. That is their Gold Camp Road. You would find
Mhm.
beer bottles up there if they had been invented. Just
Oh,
saying.
yeah. I think this is how you can tell that Tolkien's wife did most of the child rearing.
Or his kids were really good at subterfuge. Anyway, yeah.
Anyway, so they pass what would have been beer bottles if beer bottles had been invented.
Yep.
And they went up by steep ways until they came to a high field below the snows that clad the lofty peaks. That's actually what kept the teenagers out, is it's really steep. They came to a high field below the snows that clad the lofty peaks, and it looked down over the precipice that stood behind the city. And standing there, they surveyed the lands, for the morning was come. And they saw the towers of the city far below them, like white pencils touched by the sunlight. That is the most unpoetic word.
It is, and it makes you wonder, did they then have pencils? Because he's been keeping it like there's not a lot of anachronism.
There's not. And then he was like, "Oh, what's a really majestic thing that I could compare the towers of Minas Tirith to? I know, pencils."
I mean, I could totally see it in my mind's eye, so it worked, but it does make me wonder if Aragorn knows pencils. Did the elves invent pencils?
You know who would have pencils if anyone is the hobbits.
Yeah, and they don't. They use pens.
I mean, I suppose the dwarves might have pencils. You know, they might have found graphite and been like, "Ah, I can make marks with this."
But then they wouldn't be using runes as much as they do.
True. And I feel like chalk on a slate is more likely also, if they're
Yeah.
going to be doing, like you're not carving plans into stone. You're using something you can erase, but probably not pencils.
I wonder if pencil has an etymology like that we are unaware of. Like pencils used to mean a stick of chalk or something, and it's just been co-opted by the graphite wrapped in wood. We should look into that. Because if that's
It's
what
just been
Aragorn
co-opted by big graphite.
if that's what Aragorn is picturing, then we ought to know about it, don't you know?
Well,
How
I'll leave
old
that
is
to
the
you.
word pencil? Uh in um I've recently learned this in Irish Gaelic at least. It's just lead pen.
Sure.
Pound Louis or something. It's lead pen is what a pencil is. So you keep reading. I'll look up the etymology of pencil.
All right. Let's see. And all the vale of the Anduin was like a garden, and the mist and the mountains of shadow were veiled in a golden mist. Upon one side their sight reached to the grey Emyn Muil. Well, are
Well,
you going to tell me?
comes from the Latin penis.
The towers were like white penises.
But in Latin, the word penis actually means tail. Which later turned into peniculus, which is brush, which became the old French pincel, and then Middle English it became pencil, which is a brush. But yeah, it's always been a diminutive of penis.
So not just white penises, but small white penises.
It's their nickname.
Well, I certainly am picturing Miss. What?
Are you still picturing a pencil?
No, I'm picturing Minas Tirith quite differently now.
And that has been our Latin for the day.
We are very educational. All right. Going back now, let's just rewind for a second because I, for one, have forgotten where we are.
Where are we? I don't know.
We're on the mountain,
yeah,
on the high plain that only kings go because no one else wants to climb it because it's too steep.
Yep.
Looking out over the plain.
Yep.
Upon the one side, their sight reached the grey Emyn Muil, and the glint of Rauros was like a star twinkling far off. And upon the other side they saw the river like a ribbon laid down to Pelargir, and beyond that was the light on the hem of the sky that spoke of the sea. And Gandalf said, "This is your realm, and the heart of the greater realm that shall be. The third age of the world is ended, and the new age is begun. And it is your task to order its beginning and preserve what may be preserved." I don't know why I said preserve like that, but I'm going with preserve.
Because Gandalf is eating candy. I don't know.
He shares my new fondness for pineapple lifesavers.
Yes. Good stuff.
For though much has been saved, much must now pass away, and the power of the three rings also is ended. And all the lands that you see and those that lie round about them shall be dwellings of men, for the time comes of the dominion of men, and the elder kindred shall fade or depart. I know it well, dear friend, said Aragorn, but I would still have your counsel. Not for long now, said Gandalf.
Nope.
Sucks to suck, buddy. Bye. The third age was my age. I was the enemy of Sauron. My work is finished. I shall go soon. The burden must lie now upon you and your kindred. But I shall die, said Aragorn, for I am a mortal man, and though being what I am, and of the race of the West unmingled, I shall have life far longer than other men, yet that is but a little while. And when those who are now in the wombs of women are born and have grown old, I too shall grow old. And who then shall govern Gondor? And those who look to this city as to their queen, if my desire be not granted. Dang it! The tree in the court of the fountain is still withered and barren. The twee in the court of the fountain is still...
Twee in the court. The court twee.
The twee in the court of the fountain. Fountain court twee. The twee specifically planted to be in the court of the fountain.
Yeah.
Anyway. The tree in the court of the fountain is still withered and barren. When shall I see a sign that it will ever be otherwise? Turn your face from the green world and look where all seems barren and cold, said Gandalf. Then Aragorn turned, and there was a stony slope behind him running down from the skirts of the snow, and as he looked he was aware that alone there in the waste a growing thing stood. And he climbed to it, and saw that out of the very edge of the snow there sprang a sapling tree, no more than 3 foot high. Already it had put forth young leaves, long and shapely, dark above and silver beneath, and upon its slender crown it bore one small cluster of flowers, whose white petals shone like the sunlit snow. Then Aragorn cried, "Yea, Utubienius, I have found it! Lo, here is a..." What?
Yes, dear, you found it.
I know. I was going to say that as soon as I finished the speech, like, I have found it! I don't think that was you, bud.
Sure you did.
Lo, here is a scion of the eldest of trees. But how comes it here? For it is not itself yet 7 years old. And Gandalf, coming, looked at it and said, Verily, this is a sapling of the line of Nimloth the Fair, and that was a seedling of Galathilion, and that a fruit of Telperion of many names, eldest of trees. Who shall say how it comes here in the appointed hour? I definitely didn't come here 7 years ago and plant it. How else would it get there and he would know about it?
Oh, somebody did it. You know, it happens. These things happen. Don't question me.
Just, who can say, really?
Yeah.
Could have been anyone.
Could have been anyone.
But this is an ancient hallow, and ere the king's failed or the tree withered in the court, a fruit must have been set here.
By someone.
By someone. I also like the idea that one of the kings was just like walking up the hill, eating the fruit of the white tree and dropping the seeds.
Yeah, reverence right there.
For it is said that, though the fruit of the tree comes seldom to ripeness, yet the life within may then lie sleeping through many long years, and none can foretell the time in which it will awake. Remember this, for if ever a fruit ripens, it should be planted, lest the line die out of the world. Here it is lain hidden on the mountain, even as the race of Elendil lay hidden in the wastes of the north. Yet the line of Nimloth is older far than your line, King Elisar. This tree's way older than you, bro. It's like way more aristocratic.
So
which
much.
Like fair.
Yeah. So much more important than you. And I love that Gandalf feels the need to be like, by the way, in case you thought you were special, show some reverence to this tree.
I don't think that's going to be a problem, though. Aragorn seems pretty on top of that already.
Right. Except for when they were like, dude, you use the Palantir? And he was like, you forget to whom you speak, bitch.
Well, yeah, but that was only because he wasn't near the tree. If the tree had asked him that question, he would have been more respectful.
Okay, you have a point. Well done.
Then Aragorn laid his hand gently to the sapling, and lo, it seemed to hold only lightly to the earth, and it was removed without hurt. Thank God, because I was picturing him just yoinking it right out of the ground. And Aragorn bore it back to the citadel. Then the withered tree was uprooted, but with reverence, and they did not burn it, but laid it to rest in the silence of Rathdinan. And Aragorn planted the new tree in the court by the fountain, and swiftly and gladly it began to grow. And when the month of June entered in, it was laden with blossom. The sign has been given.
That he feels the need to reassure us that they didn't take the scion of the eldest tree and put it in the fire.
I mean, I also appreciate that.
Right? Like, well, this old dead one isn't needed anymore. Somebody open the furnace.
Toss.
Right? Yeah. Yeet.
I was going to say yeet, but then I had already said yoink, so I felt weird.
Listen, every yoink needs a yeet.
They are natural opposites. It is true.
Yeah. And related etymologically, I'm sure.
I think we've had enough etymology for today.
What, you don't want to hear about where yoink comes from?
Well, it probably doesn't come from penis.
It might.
Yeah, as soon as I said it, I was like, oh, but it might.
Anyway.
So Aragorn was like, the sign has been given, and the day is not far off, and he set watchmen upon the walls.
Woo!
It was the day before midsummer when messengers came from Amondim to the city, and they said that there was a riding of fair folk out of the north, and they drew near now to the walls of the Pelennor. And the king said, at last they have come. Let all the city be made ready. Finally! God!
Fucking hell! Man.
I've been king for like 2 months. Where have you been?
Where's my wife?
What's that from? Fucking hell, where have you been? Oh, it's the bit in Dress to Kill. Okay.
Really? Because I was thinking of Last Unicorn. Where have you been?
No, I was definitely thinking of Susie
Eddie?
Izzard
Susie
being
Eddie?
like, "Where have you been?" But throwing ice cream trucks at them.
Oh, yeah.
I love the
Oh, I
smell of
love the
Europe in the
smell of
morning.
Europe in the morning.
If we ever take a trip to Europe together, we're gonna say that every dang day.
Oh, okay, that needs to happen. Any hoozles.
Any hoozles, so he said, "Let all the city be made ready."
Woo!
Upon the very eve of midsummer, when the sky was blue as sapphire and white stars opened in the east, but the west was still golden, and the air was cool and fragrant, the riders came down the north way to the gates of Minas Tirith. First rode Elrahir and Eladan with a banner of silver. Then came Glorfindel and Aristor and all the household of Rivendell. And after them came the Lady Galadriel and Celeborn, Lord of Lothlorien, riding upon white steeds, and with them many fair folk of their land, grey-cloaked with white gems in their hair. And last came Master Elrond, mighty among elves and men, bearing the sceptre of Enumenas, and beside him upon a grey palfrey rode Arwen, his daughter, Evenstar of her people. And Frodo, when he saw her come glimmering in the evening, with stars on her brow and a sweet fragrance about her, was moved with great wonder. And at last he said to Gandalf, "At last I understand why we have waited. This is the ending. Now not only day shall be beloved, but night too shall be beautiful and blessed, and all its fear pass away." Then the king welcomed his guests, and they alighted, and Elrond surrendered the sceptre, and laid the hand of his daughter in the hand of the king, and together they went up into the high city, and all the stars flowered in the sky. And Aragorn the King Elessar wedded Arwen Undolmea in the city of the kings upon the day of midsummer, and the tale of their long waiting and labors was come to fulfillment.
Yay!
I note that it doesn't say that they made out in front of everybody.
No.
That's a movie edition.
Well, yeah, it would have to be, though. Like,
yeah. No,
none of Tolkien's people ever make out or poop or have any kind of physical anything.
I don't think those are quite analogous, but I'll go with it.
Yeah.
Chapter 6, Many Partings. When the days of rejoicing were over at last, the companions thought of returning to their own homes. And Frodo went to the king as he was sitting with the Queen Arwen by the fountain, and she sang a song of Valinor while the tree grew and blossomed. They welcomed Frodo and rose to greet him, and Aragorn said, "I know what you have come to say, Frodo. You wish to return to your own home. Well, dearest friend, the tree grows best in the land of its sires, but for you in all the lands of the West there will ever be a welcome. And though your people have had little fame in the legends of the great, they will now have more renown than any wide realms that are no more." "It is true that I wish to go back to the Shire," said Frodo, "but first I must go to Rivendell. For if there could be anything wanting in a time so blessed, I missed Bilbo, and I was grieved when among all the household of Elrond I saw that he was not come." "Do you wonder at that, Ring-bearer?" said Arwen, "for you know the power of that thing which is now destroyed, and all that was done by its power is now passing away. But your kinsman possessed this thing longer than you. He is ancient in years now, according to his kind, and he awaits you, for he will not again make any journey, save one." "Then I beg leave to depart soon," said Frodo. "In 7 days we will go," said Aragorn. "Well, we shall ride with you far on the road, even as far as the country of Rohan. In 3 days now, Eomer will return hither to bear Theoden back to rest in the Mark, and we shall ride with him to honor the fallen. But now before you go I will confirm the words that Faramir spoke to you, and you are made free forever of the realm of Gondor, and all your companions likewise."
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, right. Hey, thanks for saving the world. Don't come back, though. Look, I don't know how to tell you this, but none of you did the dishes in the house we gave you, so
Yeah, y'all are slobs. Dude. Except Sam. Sam can come back. We like Sam.
yeah. I mean, honestly,
I mean,
fair.
I guess they need the formality, but I totally wouldn't.
Well, that's like a whole it's a whole thing, right? It's like the minstrel singing the song of their deeds for that entire day when they
Right?
had just gotten back from them. Like, okay, but can I put on clean clothes? Like, can I have a shower, please? What am I
Nope.
doing?
You will wear the rags you wore.
Sit here and listen to Snugga. You
We call
forgot
him
about that,
Henry
huh?
now. No one mentions his complexion, okay? It's gray because of reasons.
He suffered a long illness. But I kind of like the idea that they call him something like, I don't know, Sneador?
Snogland.
Snogstifer?
Snogstifer.
Because someone asked him his name and he was like, Snogstifer?
Welcome, sweet Snogstifer.
Ah, this is a fair name in your land, I deem.
Has a great history, I doubt not.
Anyway, where were we here? Oh yeah, so he said, you were made free forever of the realm of Gondor, no shit.
Yeah.
And if there were any gifts that I could give to match with your deeds, you should have them. But whatever you desire, you shall take with you, and you shall ride in honor and arrayed as princes of the land. But the Queen Arwen said, a gift I will give you, for I am the daughter of Elrond. I shall not go with him now when he departs to the havens, for mine is the choice of Luthien, and as she, so have I chosen, both the sweet and the bitter. But in my stead you shall go, ring-bearer, when the time comes, and if you then desire it. If your hurts grieve you still, and the memory of your burden is heavy, then you may pass into the west, until all your wounds and weariness are healed. But wear this now in memory of Elfstone and Evenstar, with whom your life has been woven. And she took a white gem like a star that lay upon her breast, hanging upon a silver chain, and she set the chain about Frodo's neck. When the memory of the fear and the darkness troubles you, she said, this will bring you aid.
I love that. I love Arwen. She gets 2 lines in the whole book, and they're good ones. And part of me is also like, so what exactly are the rules? Because later it's like, hey, ring bearers all get to go, and then but she seems to think that it's like a ticket that she had and she's handing over.
Yeah, I don't know. That seems like one of those weird elf things where maybe it's like she was telling her dad about how she figured Frodo would be super traumatized and need to go into the West, and he was like, yeah, actually, that's probably true for all the ring bearers.
Right.
They've all done us a great service.
Yeah, maybe
We
we
should
should
bring them all.
we'll bring them all as and when they want to, you know.
I still love, and I know we haven't got to this bit yet, but just the fact that Legolas just sneaks Gimli in.
Likewise, and I love the thought that 5 of the 9 make it to the Undying Lands. Like, that's enough to have a good party. They're missing
Yeah.
Boromir and Aragorn and Merry and Pippin, which are arguably the best ones, but still.
Well, in terms of having a good party, yes, possibly. But like Merry and Pippin went on to have these very full lives and Aragorn too, obviously, and whatever.
Yeah.
Where I feel like they wouldn't have really wanted to go. Like Frodo wanted to go because he
He's
needed
tired.
to. He's tired. And Sam wanted to go because Frodo was there.
Yep.
And
And
Gimli and Legolas.
Gimli had two reasons, his life mate and his love of Galadriel.
Yeah, his boyfriend and his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And Gandalf is the Maiar, so
Right?
there you go. That's the five, right? Yeah, so basically it's just the two couples in Gandalf.
Yeah. One of them's a throuple.
True. A couple, a throuple, and Gandalf, my god, that sounds like a sitcom. Although technically I think Legolas and Gimli are a polycule with Celeborn and Galadriel, because like Galadriel and Celeborn are also married, so it's like a
Celeborn is ace and has no interest in any of them and is really relieved that she's got other hobbies.
that actually makes perfect sense.
I think he's heard sub too, because he does that whole speech about, you went to the hideous, awful caverns that I spit upon, Patui, and Galadriel's like, shut your mouth. And he's like, oh yeah, sorry, I spoke in grief. Please
Yes,
forget everything I just said. Sorry, mistress.
Galadriel definitely wears the pants in the relationship. That is true.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, they have an ace BDSM relationship.
Yeah.
And then Gimli is her boyfriend, and then Legolas is his boyfriend.
Yeah. Yep, that all
Yep.
checks out. Yeah.
Well, glad we sorted that out.
Well done. Yep.
We did that. We found out that the towers of Minas Tirith are shaped like penises, and now we can move on with our lives.
Like, what is it with Latin? Because I'm pretty sure that according to Knight's Tale, penis means thorn. So thorn, tail, anything cylindrical.
Okay, no, I always thought that too, but I looked it up. The word for thorn is spinous with an S at the beginning.
Well then.
So I thought it was Lilium Inter's penis. And I was like, who the hell is Lilium Inter? But no, it's Lilium Inter Spinus, which means the lily amongst the thorns.
Yeah. I knew it was Latin, but I also feel like if penis meant tail, which apparently it did, and vagina meant sheath, which that's the only meaning it had back then.
What did they call their bits?
What? Yeah, like exactly.
I don't know. I'm not that good at Latin. I can't tell you.
They just not have words for the bits because they're naughty.
They definitely had words for them because they found a lot of graffiti at Pompeii.
They had words for everything. They're Latin. So yeah, I don't know why so many words are doing double duty. Maybe they assumed that after a couple thousand years they would only be doing single duty again.
I mean, a lot of slang in modern times also does double duty.
Yeah.
If you looked up what does cock mean, male chicken.
It does.
Explain that one.
But it's the number of words that mean penis anymore is kind of like the number of species that are evolving into crabs. All words will someday mean penis.
Instead of carcinization, it's phallinization. Oh shit, that's the word for penis, phallus.
Oh, there you go. Thank you.
Duh. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I am deeply.
That is a fallacy.
I'm just gonna have to go have a small existential crisis about the fact that every word will eventually mean penis.
It's okay. By the time that happens, we'll all be crabs, so it won't matter as much.
Well, thank God for that. All right. I will see you next week on Sunday.
On Sunday, moving it up sounds like a plan. I love you.
I love you too.
Cuidado.
Llamas.
Bye.